Welcome back to our channel, where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today, we bring you some news. King Charles's move left Prince William in tears over Prince George's future plan. In a stunning turn that has enthralled royal observers globally, King Charles reportedly issued a stern ultimatum to Prince William and Princess Catherine about their son Prince George. Although the palace has maintained silence, speculation is rife that during the private assembly at Sandringham, King Charles emphasized his intention to enroll George in a conventional boarding school upon his 12th birthday, in addition to deliberating on Prince William's new title for the forthcoming phase of monarchy restructuring. Many people are talking about this because sources say that William and Catherine want to take a more modern approach. The issue could lead to a big fight between the monarchy's old traditions and the more modern ideas of the next generation of royals. This dispute is not unexpected for those well-versed in royal history. Historically, successors to the throne have been sent to boarding schools, exemplifying the British aristocracy's method of cultivating discipline, tenacity, and an unwavering sense of responsibility. Charles personally experienced the challenges of Gordonstoun in Scotland, a location he has lauded for its role in developing his character, although he also encountered isolation and stringent discipline. Prince William and Prince Harry also emulated him by attending Ludgrove and subsequently Eton. Raised in a more conventional setting, Catherine aspires for George to receive a balanced, quotidian upbringing, similar to what society might consider normal. As a mother of three, she champions emotional well-being and contemporary parenting methodologies, asserting that happiness and mental health must always be prioritized. The core of this contradiction lies with King Charles, whose perspective is fundamentally influenced by tradition. He was shaped at a period when stiff upper lip was not only a phrase, but really a tenet of royal existence. In his view, boarding school is not only an educational institution, it is a crucible that cultivates leaders capable of enduring relentless public examination. He presumably saw George's future as a continuation of this philosophy and is supposed to have said, "I attempted to caution him," in relation to William's parenting decisions. Charles's urgency stems from a belief that the monarchy's perpetuity relies on disciplined, duty-oriented successors. An unstructured approach may, in his view, jeopardize centuries of tradition. As king, he now has the power and maybe the will to maintain this position, placing him in direct opposition to Catherine, who favors George's personal welfare above anything else. Catherine transcends the role of a devoted mother. She embodies contemporary royalty, advocating for mental wellness, engaged parenting, and a synthesis of practical experiences for her offspring. She often accompanies George to his preferred athletic activities and converses with other moms during school commutes. She aims to remind him, and indeed the world, that despite his future king status, he is a child who deserves the freedom to develop at his pace. Sources indicate her concern about the emotional impact that boarding school had on Charles and William, who both encountered the strain of being prepared for royalty at an early age. She would want George to enroll in a day school, coming home each afternoon to a nurturing and supportive environment. She feels it will protect him from the isolation and inflexibility that may accompany being away from home at such a pivotal stage of development. Prince William occupies a central position, endeavoring to mediate these conflicting perspectives. He comprehends intimately the experience of maturing in the public spotlight, balancing relentless aspirations with the common adversities of youth. William's tenure at Eton, however distinguished, necessitated maneuvering through relentless public attention and media examination. In adulthood, he has emerged as a vocal proponent of mental health, candidly discussing the emotional challenges he and his brother Harry have had over the years. He acknowledges his father's position, recognizing that tradition has preserved the monarchy for decades. However, he also endorses Catherine's contemporary viewpoint. His experiences as a parent have underscored the importance of warmth, closeness, and familial cohesion, aspects often overlooked in traditional royal upbringing. Public opinion is similarly divided. Traditionalists cite centuries of royal procedure, contending that the monarchy requires extensive education to cultivate successors capable of managing the demands of leadership. From Cheam and Gordonstown to Eton and beyond, these institutions have shaped the foundation of several regal figures. Proponents of this approach contend that excessive deviation from established norms jeopardizes the monarchy's foundational integrity. In their view, enrolling George at a boarding school is not only a customary practice, it is crucial to solidifying his position as a future monarch. This discipline, they contend, distinctly differentiates the Windsors from others globally. Conversely, proponents of William and Catherine contend that the monarchy's survival depends on adaptation rather than strict devotion to tradition. If the monarchy persists in adhering to antiquated practices, it jeopardizes its connection with contemporary audiences. In an era of heightened mental health awareness, can the royals afford to overlook the emotional impact that such customs may impose on a young child? They see Catherine's method, which promotes an atmosphere where George may explore his hobbies, develop connections with non-royals, and partake in family meals each evening, as a refreshing alteration. A future king need not be forged by adversity. He may cultivate strength via affection and well-rounded life experiences. A similarly intriguing aspect is the speculation that Prince George has shown some hesitance over his eventual role as king. Although there is no official confirmation, royal correspondents have intermittently noted that George, acutely conscious of cameras and public scrutiny, does not really embrace his fate. Catherine, in her protective nature, believes that a daily atmosphere may facilitate a more organic comprehension of his responsibilities, rather than immersing him in a system that incessantly emphasizes his royal duties. She believed that cultivating his emotional intelligence may ultimately make him a more empathetic ruler. Charles undoubtedly perceives this ambivalence as another piece of evidence that George needs the impetus that only a boarding school can provide, preparing him for the unavoidable responsibilities he cannot evade. The monarchy is on the verge of collapse, with a single educational decision acting as a metaphor for the entire royal institution. If Charles prevails, George may soon attend a prestigious boarding school, establishing connections with others similarly used to rigorous oversight. They would instruct him in discipline, respect, and tradition. He would be well prepared for the multitude of obligations that await him as the heir apparent. However, there exists a possibility that he may become resentful, or, at the very least, detached from a familial context that Catherine considers essential for healthy growth. If Catherine's and William's preferences prevail, George may continue in a day school environment. He would experience the solace of going home each evening, cultivating a more profound bond with siblings Charlotte and Louis, and maybe relishing simple pleasures like family meals and a vibrant social life outside the royal confines. These actions might foster the contemporary monarchy that many assert the public now desires. Critics, however, express concern that this trajectory may render George inadequately equipped for the severe realities and responsibilities associated with the crown. What occurs, they inquire, when the global monitoring amplifies throughout his adolescence or perhaps prior, considering that every action of a royal is subject to examination? According to royal critics, broader socioeconomic developments may exacerbate Charles's nervousness. Respect for the monarchy can no longer be assumed as it once was. The younger generation often interrogates the significance of hereditary titles, particularly in an environment that promotes self-expression and individual liberty. Adhering to tradition is Charles's method of preserving the monarchy's integrity. From his viewpoint, a more lenient upbringing may yield a future ruler who interrogates the job itself or lacks the stoicism he deems vital for representing the country. Catherine, however, may argue that the monarchy's future prosperity depends on its capacity to be approachable and empathic, attributes better aligned with contemporary values. Experts have contributed their insights as well. Certain child psychologists caution that removing a kid from their family at critical developmental periods may engender emotions of estrangement. Some assert that elite boarding schools have evolved to meet contemporary needs, integrating pastoral care, mentoring, and comprehensive support networks that can advantage even a royal kid. Psychologists emphasize that Prince George's specific temperament should significantly influence the choice. If he has introverted or sensitive tendencies, a boarding setting may pose more challenges for him than for a youngster who flourishes in freedom. In contrast, some children thrive in structured environments, cultivating confidence and resilience that day schools may not adequately provide. British educational advisors propose that a compromise may be optimal, an institution that integrates conventional discipline with contemporary strategies for mental health and emotional well-being. The arrangement would enable George to engage in part-time boarding while maintaining sufficient chances for family connection. It is uncertain if Charles and Catherine would both deem such a compromise acceptable, yet many see it as a means of reconciling tradition with modernity. The monarchy's existence has always depended on its ability to change while preserving its core identity. Public personalities and royal historians similarly contribute to the discourse. Certain historians emphasize that the monarchy's perpetuity relies on its traditions, especially educational selections. Significant deviations may result in unpredictable repercussions, they contend, since the monarchy's authority is not just ceremonial but also symbolic. By enrolling George in a residential school, King Charles would be affirming the steadfastness of the monarchy, irrespective of societal value changes. Conversely, some emphasize the monarchy's ability to adapt and maintain relevance. The late Princess Diana notably endeavored to humanize the royal image by engaging with others in intimate and genuine manners. Her influence unequivocally molded William's viewpoint, which Catherine seems to enhance in her maternal attitude. The media's involvement in chronicling every development exacerbates the drama. The incessant news cycle and the fervent dynamics of social media inescapably affect contemporary royals. Should George enroll at a boarding school, paparazzi photographs would certainly inundate newspapers, inciting conjecture over his emotional condition or his adjustment away from home. Conversely, Catherine's attitude may attract criticism from those who wonder if the monarchy is being too indulgent toward its future king. Both decisions, succinctly, provide abundant material for extensive discourse, placing the Windsors once again under international examination. The intricacy is further compounded by the fact that Prince George has two younger siblings, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, whose educational trajectories may establish a pattern for the whole generation of young royals. Will Charlotte accompany George to boarding school? Or will she encounter a different strategy? Every new occurrence has the potential to exacerbate tensions or demonstrate the extent to which William and Catherine are willing to diverge from precedent. These inquiries underscore that each educational decision impacts not just an individual kid, but also influences the monarchy's trajectory for years ahead. The general populace observes this developing narrative with a blend of intrigue and apprehension. Numerous individuals commend the couple's focus on mental health, recognizing the significant constraints imposed on royal offspring. Some maintain that, for monarchy to persist, it must steadfastly uphold its principles, certain in the traditions that have distinguished it for generations. Additionally, there exists a moderate perspective advocating for a balanced approach that neither dismisses tradition nor overlooks contemporary circumstances. The topic persists in pubs, online forums, and televised debates. Does the monarchy need a major transformation to survive, or is it sufficiently robust to maintain its heritage while judiciously modifying key elements? Nearly all analysts agree that the ultimate choice about George's education will have significant implications. The monarchy must acknowledge the prevailing conditions. Surveys indicate variable support, particularly among younger Britons who want a monarchy that resonates with the evolving dynamics of modern family life. William and Catherine have shown a readiness to adopt more transparency, evidenced by public interviews discussing personal challenges and informal family photographs that deviate from traditional royal conventions. By committing to a contemporary methodology in George's education, they would indicate a significant transformation in royal culture. This audacious action may alienate traditionalists who get solace from the monarchy's immutable customs. The monarchy has lately seen significant changes, including family discord and the evolving responsibilities of senior royals. As King Charles assumes the position he has awaited for decades, he is navigating the challenge of preserving the institution's dignity while facing younger royals intent on pursuing their approaches. The dispute around George's education is, in many ways, a reflection of a more profound division. Will the monarchy persist as an institution reliant on tradition and established conventions, or will it evolve to embody the objectives of a 21st century society that values individual liberty, mental well-being, and emotional genuineness? George himself stays at the focal point of a discourse he may be too youthful to completely grasp. The obligations imposed upon him are substantial due to the circumstances of his birth. In a family that has significantly modernized in recent decades, there may exist a solution that provides him with a balanced experience, a demanding school that cultivates resilience and responsibility, with a supportive home environment that emphasizes emotional health. The critical inquiry is whether this balance would fulfill King Charles's deep commitment to tradition and Catherine's inclination toward a more engaged contemporary upbringing. The future of the monarchy may depend on their ability to achieve that equilibrium. If they win, it could lead to the start of a new era in which tradition and a more human-centered view of royal life work together. Failure may precipitate further divisions within the family and could reduce public support. Commentators already see the conclusion as the most significant challenge King Charles and the younger royals have had since his ascension. Irrespective of the trajectory he chooses, Prince George has a distinctive role at the intersection of history and contemporary society, epitomizing a monarchy in evolution. Will the world soon see a future monarch molded by decades of boarding school tradition, or a youngster cultivated in a home-centered atmosphere advocated by a progressive mother? Only time will reveal the outcome. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.